Gavin, look here. Gavin.
I can't. Oh, yeah. So.
See, I start as a tiny one. And then make it spell.
I knew somebody on the bus would know it.
About an hour and a half getting into Durango.
Silly fun.
Yeah, try that.
You're in the restroom.
We're going to get this thing done.
Because you don't have that.
On the way down, I'll try to explain some of the things that we're looking at as we get closer and as we move on down towards Durango.
I'm with the huckleberry.
Cool.
Silverton is a mining town and that is how it was established in the 1850s. A man by the name of Charles Bates came into this country. He has settled what was and is known as Baker's Park. It's about 2 miles north of Silverton, Indiana, river drainage. He did have a little bit of problems with the Ute Nation. This is the summer home of the Ute Nation, and they signed the Bruno Treaty of 1873 that allowed the miner to come into this country and start extracting the ore and the minerals out of it. What they were looking for primarily was gold, silver, copper, zinc, and lead. Above Baker's Park, you have Eureka, Howardsville, and finally Animal Sports. Animal Sports is being restored and stabilized. It is a ghost town. They were pulling out of the mine. They took the ore and hauled it down into Silverton in an area that is now known as the dog park, where we can turn our little friends loose and let them run for a while. So the train had a big economic impact on this whole country. It was a transportation of not only food and material, really started into high gear. So people flooded in here with the signing of the treaties. Monument on the side of the hill, Christ of the Pines. It's in that grove of trees on the side of Animal Mountain, which is the red-colored mountain. Was cut and quarried in Italy, transported over, and is sat on the side of that mountain, both for the safety of the miner and to keep the mining industry in this country. Mining does run throughout the Rocky Mountain region, as the veins of minerals that they are after are all over and all through the Rocky Mountain region. They're usually found high up on the mountain because of the volcanic action and the plate shifting. white bark with the very light green trees and light green leaves are actually getting pretty small. As we climb up over Bowes Pass, we will see them disappear and leave us in the spur spruce zone, which you can see directly through the windshield across the river all the way up. We'll finally join up with it again in the Animas Valley. So as we look across the hillside, there's actually some really pretty waterfalls over there. You'll also notice the habitat zone. You'll also notice the snow slide zone. Those areas or those chutes down the side of the hill that the snow constantly runs through in the winter, creating avalanches and keeps the timber knocked down. We'll go through a number of those as we go over these two passes. You'll notice there will be signs that say explosives or launch area beside the road. The State Highway Department does have the responsibility of maintaining this highway year-round. Silverton does have a year-round population, a little over 300 people. It is managed by the U.S. Forest Service, and it is also a playground, if you will, both winter and summer. As you can see that we have been traveling alongside a set of mountains to the west of us. That is the Grenadier Mountain Range, and it is the home of the bighorn sheep and the mountain goat. It also contains 4 of the 14,000-foot peaks in the state of Colorado out of the 55 that we have. When you came up this morning, you made a water stop in Needleton. There alongside Needle Creek, there was a bridge that went across the river. That bridge is the start of the Needle Creek Trail, which goes in the Chicago Basin, which accesses those peaks. And they climb them both winter and summer here. In the summer, we do have a lot of backpacking, horsebacking, people that just want to hike in and do day trips and fish for a day in our mountain lakes. There's a number of four-wheel drive roads. There's also a significant number of trails that go through this country. In the wintertime, those same 14,000-foot peaks will be climbed by the mountain climbers in the winter mountain ranges. And the average height is almost 13,000, going in the 12,000-foot area range as you go up and down into Denver and back. Finally start climbing higher than that. The lower portion is 4-lane divided. It is also known as part of the Trails of the Ancients. So our road system originally grew up from the trails to become wagon and stagecoach roads, which later became state highways, which have gone on to become interstates in our country now. Consider Interstate 80, the Oregon Trail, interstate that have gone straight ahead as we came out of Silverton. We could have gone up over Red Mountain and gone down through the Uncompahgre Canyon. Red Mountain tops out at 11,018 feet. As it goes through the Uncompahgre Canyon, that road was pioneered by a man by the name of Otto Mears. He was a pioneer in this country, was into road building and railroad building. The little caboose we saw in Silverton was part of one of those railroads that he established to service the mines. The road now went up over the top, but Lime Creek is still a nice four-wheel drive road with excellent camping and fishing down alongside the creek. By 1926, this highway was part of the federal highway system in the United States. Look off to the left side of the coast, you will see Twilight Peak. It's a really tall one to our left. It is a little over 13,000 feet in height. If you've been watching the other side of the canyon, there are some pretty little waterfalls that come down through there in a straight line. They are a transition from one zone to the next, as we'll see as we watch our forest change on our way down. The last and final one that we can really see good here is Twilight Peak, and that is the alpine tundra above it. Willows can grow. It's amazing just how hardy that little shrub is. Not near as tall as what you'll find along the river at home. It is more scrub, but it is still growing until you reach up to the very top when the ground the depth of the soil is so small that it really can't support it, and you're back into almost a pure rock soil or base underneath. We are back up to 10640 now. We're just to go over the top of Coal Bank in a minute. As we go around this curve in that grove of trees, you can see the little parking area, and that is the start of the Pass Break Trail to the top of Engineer Mountain. Watch the trees beside you as you go down. You see we are still in the fir spruce zone. Pretty soon the quaking aspen will start to come in. Of the Purgatory Ski Area. It does say Durango Mountain Resort on it, but I understand it's changed hands and will be renamed Purgatory again, which was the original park named for this part of the country. Where these houses are now used to be a nice little campground, Purgatory Campground. As we continue dropping, and as you look to the left, the mountains range we'll be going by will be the West Needles. Most of those peaks will top out a little over 13,000 feet, but won't make the 14,000 foot mark. Forget to mention the names of the 414ers in the Grenadier Mountain Range is Helios, North Helios, Wyndham, and Sunlight. Over this little hump, were we to look to the right, we would see a ranch. That is the old Hata Brothers Ranch. It was established up here and has been through several generations of that family. And they have some of the original cattle grazing permits in the Hermosa Range that are in this area. And I think it's one of the prettiest lakes on this, or ranches and lakes on this run. The cliffs that we see through the windshield of the bus are the Hermosa Cliffs, which is Spanish for beautiful cliffs. Area, that is geothermal energy. The spring on the left side of the coast is formed from hot water coming up out of the ground. It does run year round, and that water temperature is right around 94 degrees. The minerals have formed that formation. And as we get to the stoplight in the valley, Trimble Springs, if you look to the right, you will see the Trimble Springs Hot Springs. That was built in the late 1800s, has burned twice, been rebuilt both times, and is still
Are you done with it? The TV, all right.
$1,500, $1,600, $1,600.